All right, so we are going to get started. There might be some more people coming in here, and so I'm going to share my screen here in a minute. We'll start with some introductions. I'm Mrs. Sparks. If you don't know me, I'm Mrs. Sparks. I'm one of the kindergarten teachers.
Mrs. A, the other kindergarten teacher.
She's having a hard time with her computer, so we're together tonight. And the other teacher that is not able to attend our Zoom, but we do have another kindergarten special education teacher, and her name is Miss Packett. So I'm going to go ahead and share. So tonight we are going to be talking about what we'll be learning this year, some different ways that we assess, and some things that you can do at home, as well as some other information. So I'm going to go ahead and get started. Maybe it's been a while since we did Zoom. Okay. There I can't. There we go.
There you go.
Okay. And Miss McCandless, do you want to jump in and say hello before you jump into the other Zooms there?
Yes, that'd be great. So hi, I'm Miss McCandless. I am your student's PE teacher. So if you ever need me throughout the year, you can always email me. It's callie.mcandless@dbusd.org. You can also find it on the website. It's kind of a complicated last name. But if you ever need me, just reach out. I'm always available via email.
Thank you. All right, so we'll get started. You might hear ELA, and ELA stands for English Language Arts. It encompasses all of our reading, our writing, and our spelling. So in ELA this year, we're focusing hard right now on our letter naming and letter sounds. So the students come into kindergarten not really knowing any letter names or sounds, but they end being able to read. And so we're doing a lot with our letter sounds right now. And then once we get our letter sounds down, we're going to put those letters together and start reading CVC words. And CVC stands for consonant, vowel, consonant. So words like cat, dad, fog, hut, those kinds of words. Miss Yanez, did you want to pop in and say hello? Where did she?
I'm coming.
Okay.
Dr. Gilbert and I are here. Hello, kindergarten.
Can't find you. There you are.
There you go.
All right. Miss Yanez is our Dean of Students, and Dr. Gilbert is our principal. So I wanted them to say hello there. Did you want to say anything else, Miss Yanez? Okay.
No, we're just popping in to say hi to everybody.
Okay.
Thanks for coming, everybody.
So where we left off, we were talking about putting our letter sounds together to read CVC words, the consonant, vowel, consonant words. And then near the end of the year, you will, the students will start reading consonant, consonant, vowel, consonant, like frog, or words that have two consonants at the end. We also memorize sight words. Kindergarten is responsible for memorizing 50 sight words and spelling 20 of them. So we sent those home beginning of the year, and then you'll also see what we're working on throughout the year. We teach comprehension through our reading program. It's called Into Reading. And so the stories are great. They encompass all of the cultures. They have a lot of the social studies skills and the science content in there. So that's how we teach our comprehension skills, such as character and setting, plot, or main idea and details. And then when we're writing, we take those sight words that we have learned and the sounds that we know about the letters, and that's what helps us write our sentences. We have two ways of assessing reading. Well, we use a lot of different ways to assessing, but our two official ways that we use to assess reading, one of them is called the Dibbles Test, and that's the report that you got home. That is officially given 3 times a year, and then we monitor the students every month, and there are 4 skills that are tested on the Dibbles. It is a 1-minute time test. So one of the areas we test is letter naming. How many letters can they name in a minute? And then another area we test is phonemic awareness, and that's the ability to hear and say what the sounds are on a word. So cat, and I use my fingers, cat is k, at. So once they know those sounds, then they're able to spell. So we pound out syllables and tap out sounds. So that's what phonemic awareness is. And then we have, we do nonsense words, and that is, nonsense words are basically syllables and it's consonant, vowel, consonant. So for example, I used earlier today, we might have the student read TAS. They would look at the sounds and read TAS. Well, TAS is actually a syllable that's in the word fantastic. So nonsense words are actually syllables, but we want to really see if they're able to use those sounds to help them read instead of just memorizing the words. And then we also test the word reading, that is the sight words. Again, it's a 1-minute time test. The beginning of the year, the students in kindergarten don't usually perform very well on it because they don't understand what is being asked. So if you asked a beginning kindergartner, what are the sounds in cat, they're going to tell you meow. They're not going to say cat. So that's something that we work on, and we'll work on every month. So you'll see an official report go home again in January, and you'll definitely see the growth. That is only one of the tests that we use because it is timed. The other assessment that we use is called the DRA, or Developmental Reading Assessment. And we are able to not only check on if they can read those sight words, but those CVC words, but we can also check their comprehension, if they're understanding who the characters or the settings are. I do have some examples of some level 4 books, which is where we want the students to be able to read in kindergarten. By the end of kindergarten, to read level 4 books. I'm going to try to hold them up here. It's kind of hard on Zoom, but they're pretty much 1 or 2 sentences per page. There's a lot of sight words, and then there's some other CVC words. Just good. Okay, here's another example. Oh, there we go. Trying to get it on there. So those are just 1 or 2 sentences per page. That's where we want them by the end of kindergarten. It's amazing how much kindergartners grow. It's the best grade to teach because they come in knowing practically nothing and they leave knowing practically everything. That's what we say anyway. All right. Okay. In math, we want the kindergartners to be able to count to 100 by both 1s and 10s, and that's just rote counting. That's with nothing in front of them. But we also want them to understand one-to-one correspondence. And what that means is that we are able to say, can you give me 6 cubes? And they understand if you say the number 6, that it represents 6 things. So we work a lot on the one-to-one correspondence. We use a lot of manipulatives in class to help us count. So we use cubes and counting bears and counting chips and keys and all kinds of things in class. So one of the ways you can help your child at home is just have them count. And we've told the kids anything can be a counting tool. So they could count cereal, their Cheerios. They could count Legos or Hot Wheels cars, or help me out with girl things.
Pretzel, oh, girl things.
Yeah.
Barbies.
Barbies.
Barbie shoes.
I'm a boy mom, so I think boy stuff. Anything that they can count is good for them. So they're learning that one-to-one correspondence. You can also say, can you go get me 4 whatever,
Socks.
4 socks or something like that. So they start to understand how to count. And then we also want them to recognize and write their numbers from 0 to 20. And that is writing the numbers without reversals. So we're just talking about how to do that now. When I say reversals, kindergartners typically write them backwards. They want to write words, numbers and letters backwards. So we want them to write them the correct way. Mid to end of the year, we will start working on addition and subtraction of 1-digit numbers. So that would be like 3 + 5 or 9 - 4. And we use a lot of manipulatives with that too. It's not memorization of facts yet. It's just being able to say 4 cubes plus 3 cubes equals, let's count them all together, 7 cubes. And basic 2D and 3D shapes are 2-dimensional shapes that we work on are circle, square, triangle, hexagon, rectangle. Am I missing one? No, that's it, right? And then our 3-dimensional shapes are sphere, cube, cone, and cylinder. So we'll work on those. So you can recognize some shapes at home. The math program that we use is called Eureka Math, and that's something you can look online. If you want to go see what is done in Eureka Math, we do teach to the Arizona State Standards. So you could also go online to the Arizona State Standards to see what we teach. If ever there's a homework page that you don't understand, it's better to just send it back and we can email you or let us know and we'll help you rather than trying to find it online. For social studies and scientists, like scientists, okay.
We are scientists.
There's been a lot of talking today. And for social studies and science, they are incorporated a lot into our English language arts. So our stories have a lot of things about cultures or the content that we are learning. We also work on social skills and communication skills, such as how to greet somebody, how to shake their hand, how to share, how to talk with a partner, how do you take turns talking. So we work on those. We are a Leader in Me school, so we do teach the 7 habits of highly effective leaders. Those are things that your student will start talking about. So for example, right now we're learning that habit 1 is being proactive. I'm in charge of myself, and you can ask them to show you that. This here. And so I'm in charge of my own learning. I'm in charge of my own actions. That's what we're learning right now. Because we are a Leader in Me school, we also have leadership notebooks. Every student has a leadership notebook, and we keep track of, we call them WIGs. It's wildly important goals. So the students will set their own goals throughout the year. They usually change them at least 4 times during the year, and they see how they're doing. So one student might say, my goal is to learn all the letters in the alphabet. Or another student might say, I want to be able to count to 100. Or another student might say, I want to tie my own shoes. So they set their own goal, and they keep track of their learning on how they're doing with their goal. So we keep track in those leadership notebooks, and then and all their learning is kept track there too. So at our conferences, we pull out those leadership notebooks, and in the spring conferences, the students will actually be there to present their leadership notebook to you. So they'll be showing you what their goals were and how they worked on those. Those on the screen there, you can see our science and our social studies content. Right now we're working on weather. So you might hear the word meteorologist, only it sounds a little different coming from a 5-year-old's mouth. But meteorologist is what the weather is what we're studying right now. And then social studies there, we work on those areas. The citizens and community is kind of all throughout the year. So we talk about rules and good and bad choices. And then the American symbols, holidays, and traditions is also throughout the year, depending on what is going on during that time. For homework that you've seen in the folders is practice with what we've been working on in class. It's not graded. We haven't sent a whole lot of reading homework home yet. It is not graded. It's not required. It is just something for you to see what we're working on, have your child practice it. We understand, we're both moms, so we understand that things happen and you might not get the homework done. It is not a big deal. And also, if your child is throwing a big tantrum about it, we would rather have you love on your child than try to sit through that of trying to get your child to do the homework. So it's small, but it's not graded. We just like them to get a little bit of practice. One of the things that we do highly suggest is that you read with your child or to your child every night. And as you're reading, even just if it's a harder story, they can listen and you can ask them questions like, what do you think is going to happen next? Or what do you think the problem is? Or who's the character in the story? You can ask those questions. When they start learning how to read, you can have them look for the sight words they know, or trying to read those CVC words, or even looking for letters. We do send the family projects home every month. So we've already done the Sun one. We put a due date on those, but it really doesn't have to be in by that due date. So we just kind of put a date on as a recommendation, but if they come in a couple days later, we're not going to say, no, I can't put it up. Just bring them in whenever they come in. It's a great communication tool. So as you're working on it, you can have your child explain what's on their son or their project. And then we have them talk about it in class, and then we post them on the bulletin board outside of our classrooms, all the kindergarten ones, and the kids absolutely love it. Every time they walk by, they're so excited to see their work up there.
Would you like me to try?
Do you want to do this?
Yes, go
Okay.
ahead. All the way through.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
Um,
No, I'll do it, but just put it on the screen for me. Give Ms. Sparks a break for a second here. Some other information during drop-off time. As you know, we've already been dropping off for a little over 3 weeks, or going on 3. You don't come in the gate, and your kids are doing really, really well walking independently to the playground. We just want to kind of touch base on not to drop them off any sooner than 8:30. We have had a couple of little early birds, and they're trying to go to the playground and nobody's out there. So of course, safety first. We just want to touch base on that. When we dismiss them, and if you can't find them when they come right through that gate, don't worry, because we always line up against the wall by parent pickup. And of course, there's a K out there, and that's where we'll stand. We'll always stand against the wall. And by now, your child pretty much knows where you'll be, and there's a routine. But if that ever changes, please let us know it in advance. And best way to do that would be to call the office if it's last minute, because Cerise and I, excuse me, Ms. Sparks and I do not sit on our computers and unfortunately don't get those emails right away. And also calling us in the class, we don't always get that phone call directly. So calling Bree in the office, letting the ladies know, they'll tell us if it's something that's a last minute change. That also goes with the Coyote Club in the bus. Any other, is that it?
Just so you know, if you, you're, as a parent, you're, because of safety, you're not allowed to go past those double gates in the front. If you were going to be on campus, you would need to go through the office and get a visitor's badge, and you would also need to pre-arrange it with us so we would know that you're coming. And that's the safety that's for the safety of all the kids on campus. We just need to know who is around.
Okay, extra clothes. So as you know, we've asked you to bring extra clothes, so just keep them coming. And if they're in their backpacks, I have taken personally some of those clothes and put them in their cubby. So if they're missing, don't worry, they're here. But anything can happen, and that's why we ask for extra clothes. Even spilt milk, you know, that happens in kindergarten. Labeling everything is good. We're coming into the cooler months, and that jacket pile grows quickly out there in lost and found. So please, 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 please label everything, little, big. It really is going to help us and help your child. Your daily folders, thank you for checking those and initialing them every night and checking to see, and maybe doing a check-in with your child. How was your day? Because it does make a difference. I know that they're looking at that at the end of the day. They want to kind of put their little, see what they got. So thank you again for initialing each night and making sure that you're checking that folder, getting rid of those older works. That would help as well.
And just so you know, for the change of clothing, Nurse Kristen stays very busy, especially with medications for other children and emergencies. So we try not to send the students to the nurse unless it's absolutely needed. So if it is just a small accident where they can take their change of clothing and go into our bathroom and change on their own, we let them do that. That's part of becoming independent. If it's nothing major, we just they just do it that way. And that way we Nurse Kristen can focus on her other emergencies. She does have a few clothing pieces up there, but not a lot.
I'll take the independent piece as well. So as you know, your child has grown a lot already. So here are some suggestions to help them grow independently, which is one of the major milestones that we're trying to help them learn here in kindergarten. So making their bed or dressing themselves, helping you with dishes or brushing their teeth, throwing away the trash, even writing their own name on their paper. I know it's a struggle in the beginning, but the growth is huge already. Helping with meals, maybe that one-to-one correspondence of setting the tables, bringing back their folder each night and them being responsible for that as well as their homework. It really does help out a lot. But anything you can do to help us help them become more independent, it's appreciated. And I know that you see it, and Ms. Sparks and I see it. They've already grown so much in these last 3 weeks.
We do a lot of, if the student comes to school and says, my mom forgot to give me my library book, and we'll say, well, it's not mom's job to get your library book. It's your job to get the library book. So we try to really build that independence. It's amazing what they've already done for them to be able to come down to the kindergarten playground. The first week we were doing that, we had one teacher in the hallway kind of directing them down. And then it's just amazing. Now they have come down and there hasn't been any issues with students in the hallway. They come right down. And just really, it's amazing what they can do if you have the expectation. So for example, I had a student that skinned her knee, and she came in and I said, okay, go get a paper towel and wet it down and wipe it clean. I'll get you a Band-Aid, you clean up your knee. So they are able to do a lot of things independently. Here at school, we have that high expectation, and it's just very helpful if you continue on with that expectation at home. I'll do this one.
Okay, so again, you're checking that behavior calendar that goes home each night in their folder. Initialing it really does help. The discipline part, you know, we warn and then we reflect, and we have buddies in the classroom that help out and problem solve. Emailing us is best. We'll email you if we have a concern. We'll phone call if we need to. And that office referral at the end, we don't expect that to happen at all in kindergarten, but it's there if we need it. And we appreciate any help that we get from parents. You know, if there's something going on at home and you know that little Johnny's going to have a rougher day because he stayed up late or grandma came in, please just email us. And, you know, that really does set the stage for the day. If I already know little Johnny's coming in and he's a little tired because he was up late because of a good or a bad thing that happened, anything and everything stays with us. So it just helps me better care for your babies when they're here. Both of us care for your babies when they're here. So we appreciate that communication as well.
We also use each other as buddy classrooms. So every once in a while, if a student's just having a rough time, and sometimes they just need to be removed from the situation. So I might have a student that I have go sit with Miss A for a few minutes and then come back. And it just lets them walk away from the situation, take a deep breath and come back. So we use each other as well. So the quickest response, if you want to communicate with us, the quickest response is email. Like Miss A said, we are not on our emails all day, so you can check our watch step count if you'd like, if you don't believe us. But the quickest response is email, because we usually check it and before school, at lunchtime and after school. If you call us, it goes to voicemail during the school day automatically. It doesn't ring in our classrooms at all. And so we don't always get those voicemails to the end of the day. So a little red light on, we don't always see it right away. If it's an emergency though, such as my child's taking the bus home today, or not going to Coyote Club, I'm picking them up, or not taking the bus, you need to let the office know and they will let us know, because we won't probably get that email in time. You can also communicate through us if you want to send a note in the daily folder. You can do that as well, because we check those. We both send out weekly informational emails, so you can see what we are working on, or you can also look at our websites. You can check out our websites. All right, so I'm going to stop sharing. We just discussed earlier, we realized this is the class of 2035. It will be the graduating class of 2035, which is crazy and also makes us feel older. That's a nice way to put it. But if you have any questions, you can stick it in the chat box or unmute. If it is a personal question about just your child, we'd rather you just email us and we'll contact you. Anybody have any questions? Yeah, go ahead. You can you can unmute yourself, right?
Let's see. You're not unmuted yet.
I can't hear you. Can you type it in the chat box? Okay. Anybody else have any questions while she's chatting?
There's the chat. Did you open the chat? Is it open? The top.
Oh, there
There she goes. Oh, so that's
the behavior coaching.
when we use the howl or the solve.
Are you the howl or the solve, or how
Yeah,
we handle the
so-
situations?
So in my class, I use like a buddy who can help handle situations. Like if she or he sees another friend who's upset, well, maybe I'm working with somebody at the table. That's one of the leadership roles that he or she has. Not all of my leadership roles have been assigned yet, because of course we're still pretty new. So we're learning those roles, but the role of that child would be to go up and help him out, help her out. What's wrong? See if they can handle the situation. Maybe somebody took their pencil. It's something a little lighter. And if I need to step in, of course, I'm right there. But if I see a child in need or a struggle, I can also cue that child, my leader, and just say, okay, Zygmunt, for example, little Johnny might need a little assistance. So that's how that's going to look. But again, the roles have not all been assigned yet, because it's pretty new. We have about 5 roles out of 26 roles that need to be assigned. I know. It's exciting.
Did anybody else And did anybody else have any questions before we end? It looks like the Zoom is going to make me stop in 8 minutes.
Thank you.
All right, well, thanks for coming. If you have any questions, you can always just shoot us an email, or which is the quickest response, or you can call us and leave a voicemail. So thanks for coming.
Thank you.
Bye.